What's going on, guys? I got a bunch of replays to do. I'm sort of settling into a rhythm of doing them once a week, and I've got a ton of replays, as has been the case. So mostly coming from Tanker, Spiffy, Sadao, and a little bit from Nameless. I might do a game of my or two of my own. We'll see. I'm gonna. I don't know. Let's just go from top to bottom. So, I guess we have 4 games with Tanker first. Then we'll do four or five, a bunch of games with Spiffy. You know what? Actually, let's start with Sadao since he only has one, and Six Path since he only has one, and Nameless, and then we'll do Tanker and Spiffy at the end. So, yeah, man. So starting off with Sadao, Tomb Kings versus Order of Lore Masters should be interesting. So I think what Sadao wanted us to focus on in this matchup was the fight against the Phoenix Guard. This is the ROR Phoenix Guard here. We've got 3 Sisters of Avalorn. It's a pretty high tier as far as the high elves go. I don't know if the Sisters of Avalorn trade like efficiently against Ushabti Greatbow. Maybe that's why the high elf player has brought so many of them. Certainly they can do a lot of work against Tomb Kings because they do have fire damage and magic damage. And like pretty good range. So that can bypass the physical resistance of the Tomb Kings. I mean, the fire is not so important, but the range is definitely important. So Chosen of the Gods are advancing here. It looks like they're going to be aggressive to try and shut down this Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. In a 3v1 scenario, they should be able to take care of that Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. I would expect the High Elf player to do some response here. Like the spear screen's got to be moving up to challenge these Ushabti Greatbow, and the Sisters of Avalorn have got to be shooting in at these Ushabti Greatbow. Right now, they're playing too safe with the Sisters of Avalorn. If you look at their line of their range, it pushes out to this green line here. They're not within range of these Ushabti Greatbows, so the Ushabti Greatbow are getting free shots in on the Repeater Bolt Thrower. The single shot is being used against the Ushabti Greatbow, and you know, if the proper infantry screen is in place, it can do work, but certainly not in a 3v1. I do also, I mean, at this point, because there is no screen in place, I do think the Repeater Bolt Thrower does need to abandon the artillery, at least for a little bit, until the Sisters can get in position, and then maybe they can start doing some work. We are going to see the Fireborn coming up here, trying to get in a charge. Archon the Black is going to screen them with a Skeleton Warrior summon, so that's a nice play by Sadao, just keeping his Ushabti online. But that means the Bolt Thrower is actually still able to fire, and so far, none of the artillery pieces have dropped just yet. Shots going into Teclis over here from the Ushabti Greatbow. That's a really nice target if they're able to take him out. Of course, Teclis often has access to heals as well as damage resistance. It depends on whether or not his opponent is paying attention to Teclis or not. If he's not, it's possible to burst him down pretty quickly, especially if you combo shots with the Spirit Leech. On the other hand, if he does pop that Ward Save Potion of Troy and scoots off into the distance, it can be pretty hard for the Tomb Kings to hit him, and that's damage that could maybe be used elsewhere, like on the Fireborn. The Fireborn will be able to take out the Nahakara Horsemen quite easily, especially if the Nahakara Horsemen are not supported by spears. Sadao is pushing out the Skeleton Warriors to screen out the Sisters of Avalorn. This is a play I've seen him do before, kind of sacrificial Skeleton Warriors. They have absolutely no chance of winning or even killing these Sisters, and the Sisters are going to reposition, put some shots into the side, but it is wasting very valuable time that the Sisters of Avalorn are not shooting out more useful things like the Tomb Scorpion. So that's why it's really important to protect your high tier stuff with some sort of reserve unit, for example, like these Keepers of the Flame. Had they pushed up a little bit earlier, then probably the Sisters could have done a lot more work here. The Sisters are going to try and shoot at the Ushabti Greatbow, but there is a little bit of like a catch-22 here, because the Ushabti Greatbow can outrange the Sisters, but the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower can outrange the Ushabti Greatbow, so in the end, it's sort of like both parties are, to a certain extent, forced to engage. Fireborn are going to receive a regrowth here, and they're actually going to try and dive the back line against the Ushabti. I think that's a little bit brave, because while they're fighting this unit or Ushabti, they're going to take shots from the other two, and if Archon comes over there, drops a Skeleton Summon, then I don't think that they're going to come out on top in that fight. But on the other hand, over here, the Sisters of Avalorn should be able to do some pretty good damage to the Nahakara Horsemen. Mind you, this unit of Sisters has been tied up. Again, I think the Keepers of the Flame have just been used a little bit too safely in this particular matchup. Teclis is not where he should be. Teclis should be in the back line, using his nets and other things to deal with things that push it to the back line. He does have a full kit here as well. I mean, I do like Teclis in this matchup. The Flame Sword of Ruin can be a game changer. On the other hand, I mean, this. What are you going to cast the Flame Sword of Ruin on? The spears? I mean, they're not going to do that much damage. You can cast it on the Keepers of the Flame, but they already have magic damage. They don't really need it. Sisters of Avalorn also have magic damage, so again, it's kind of like meh. So We'll see. I would have liked to see the Sisters of Avalorn maybe try and snipe out Ark and put a little pressure on him. I know they can maybe trade shots with the Shopti, but look, they're pushing themselves so far into like the front line. They're just kind of getting tangled up here. I do think that the Keepers of the Flame are a very tough unit for the Tomb Kings to deal with. So we'll see if they pay dividends here. There is no Casket of Souls, which can usually handle them quite well. Teclis is diving in here, I guess trying to tie stuff up. I'm not really sure, but he is actually going to break here just from some low-tier Skeleton Spearmen. Over here, Tomb Prince is going to scoot away into the distance. Sisters of Avalorn are going to shoot him, but Tomb Scorpions are kind of balled up, and because of how they're positioned, the High Elf player has not been able to get very many unit models. Sorry, it's just one Tomb Scorpion. Has not been able to get very many unit models around him, even though they do have the anti-large bonus. Well, the Tomb Scorpion just dove there, but yeah, I'm a little surprised that Sadao's pulled the Kepler Guard out of there, because that seemed like an engagement that he was winning pretty heavily. I don't know necessarily if he needs to fight the Keepers of the Flame with this Nehekar or the Kepler Guard until perhaps the Spearmen are down. If the two Spearmen were down, then you bring them over. I mean, they were very close to breaking here. Then you bring them over. I think it's a lot more cost effective. The Fireborn are back at it again. They didn't learn their lesson the first time. They've dived the Shopti Great Bows. They are going to get... they do tie some stuff up. I mean, that's not the end of the world, but the Tomb Prince is there. He can break them off. And then once they're broken, I think then it's just a question of just kiting this unit of spears. There is this unit of spearmen in reserve that should be able to pull back. Meanwhile, Ark in the Black is in here, dishing some damage to Sisters of Avalorn. He has caused them to ball up, and he's going to take a lot of damage here as well, but he should be able to break them as their leadership was pretty low, and he is still a lord. So, yeah, but Repeater Bolthrower finally getting some good shots into Ark on the Black. Balance bar is fairly even. We'll see if Sadao is able to pull this back. I think he's got the lead a little bit. I don't know if I've seen the Ushapti summon yet. Maybe he's keeping that in his back pocket. Maybe it hasn't procced yet. I'm not entirely sure. But it will be hard to deal with this unit of Keepers of the Flame. We'll need to monitor that closely. I think Ark on the Black is just trying to keep that Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower offline. Now it's going to be a bit of an infantry grind here. Can the Kepler Guard and the poison effect on the Keepers of the Flame do enough to allow the Kepler Guard to do work here? They do have 41 melee attack, so that's on the high end of the spectrum as far as undead units go. There is 62 melee defense on the Keepers of the Flame, but over time it is kind of working them down. Hi Tanker, how's it going, man? I'm going to get to your replays later on for sure. I've got them all lined up. Tomb Scorpion diving in here, going up against the Sisters of Avalorn. You should be able to break them off. Let's see how it goes. Tomb Prince is looking for a good target here. He's only got spears to play with over here, so not the most fun stuff in the world. Maybe he'll go over here and try and type these Sisters of Avalorn. I'm not entirely sure. Ark on the Black has chased the Bolthrower crews and the Sisters of Avalorn decently far away. Maybe he's going to try and come out here and help out again, but I don't know, man. I think maybe he could be used to just finish the Bolthrower crew, just make them shatter, or even chase the Sisters. I mean, that's still a lot of value that's left on the field. It'd be kind of nice to take that out. We'll see if it plays much of an effect later on in the game. Granted, he could just dive them again, but not without taking a few shots in the process. Tomb Scorpion coming in here on some Sisters of Avalorn. Should be able to give them a pretty solid beating. The Spearmen have been able to get a full surround on the Kepler Guard, but the Tomb Prince is actually also getting a bit of a surround debuff on the leadership to the Spearmen. Here come these Shopti Great Bulls. It looks like they're going to dive the Spear. They still have a few shots left. What are they shooting at? Just some Sisters of Avalorn. Sisters of Avalorn not in the best formation here. They're going to take maximum damage from that unit of Shopti Great Bull. Probably break off of that. This unit's fairly healthy though, so we'll see how they do. Ark on the Black just summoned another... so that's why he pulled Ark on the Black back, because he needed something to buffer the Tomb Scorpion against the Phoenix Guard, and that summon was absolutely critical in order to just give that little extra bit of fighting power to grind that out. So Kepler Guard's doing pretty good here. Let's take a look at their kills. Oh, that's GG, but yeah, cheers, Tanker. So the Kepler Guard, 147 kills. A lot of that was fighting Spearmen, but they did get in on the Keepers of the Flame at some point in time. Keepers of the Flame, 190 kills. I mean, it's really hard for Tomb Kings to deal with Phoenix Guard, I think, depending on what they bring. I mean, Caskets are obviously pretty good. Ushapti can maybe kite them. Bone Giant can do okay. Yeah, it's not that hard. I don't know. But it's hard for them to do it with regular melee infantry, and Sadao showed that it was possible. So there you go. What do we got next? Let's do Six Path, and then we'll do Nameless, and then we'll rock on to Spiffy and Tankers replays because they had a bunch of them. And thank you to everyone who sent me replays. So Six Path, we've got Helibron, which is his like signature character. He's got the Beastcaster, which I think is the right choice of caster for Helibron. He's got some debuffs and a Manticore summon. I mean, Beastcaster has some of the best utility items to just keep Helibron alive, and she's so important to the Dark Elves if you're going to run kind of a death ball. He's leading with his Bolt Throwers, which is a little bit of a brave strategy, but it is against dwarfs, so you can trust that dwarfs are generally pretty slow, and the odds of them having Vanguarded Rangers in the front line are minimal. If they had that, he would have lost with the Bolt Throwers immediately, but fortunately for him, that isn't the case. Now, it'll be interesting to see if these Bleak Swords, as they push through these Bolt Throwers, if they actually obstruct the Bolt Throwers and prevent the Bolt Throwers from firing. It might have been better to run the Bleak Swords kind of through to the side so that they don't actually obstruct the Bolt Thrower. Looks like they were, just because of the timing, it might be okay, but yeah, actually this one has fired 2 or 3 times in the time that this one has not, so I think, don't quote me. This one's still in single shot, though. It should be definitely a multiple shot because it is shooting at infantry. Actually, both of these should have been switched to multi-shot a while ago. You can see that it's a single Bolt Thrower shot. You get much more value against infantry if you use the multi-shot. So just a little suggestion there. Manticore does get summoned. Manticore is a really good option for dealing with miners with blasting charges. This unit of Bleak Swords will get interrupted here on the approach. They're going to take a beat down here from the Hammerers and the Miners, that's for sure. They have absolutely no chance. But they are providing a little bit of a buffer against the Rangers, and the Rangers, looks like they got tied up a little bit here. We'll see what the Harpies are going to be used for. It looks like they're going to dive some Rangers in the back line. But meanwhile, these Hammerers are pushing up. They are a big deal. It is very hard to kill Hammerers. So Helibron is certainly going to have to do some work in here against the Hammerers. Actually, wow, 4 units of Hammerers. So this is a very heavy metal dwarf army. Very unorthodox. Not something you would normally see from a dwarf player. But it could pay dividends if Helibron is not able to grind them out. I mean, on the other hand, the dwarves do have to find a way to kill Helibron. What do they have? Runelord and Runesmith. So 2 heroes that kind of do the same thing. And Helibron has a Mortis Engine effect, which is like, I mean, you can have all the word save and whatever you want, but that's going to proc as long as she's winning combat and she's not like full surrounded. Shade's going to put in some Overwatch fire. Can Helibron just like cause a unit of Hammers to break on her own? That would be absolutely crazy. Maybe with the Overwatch fire from the Shade she can. Look at their wavering already. Wow, that's wild. I think she's going to do it. Harganeth Executioner's going in hard here. The Blades of the Blood Queen have been debuffed by the Hammer of Karak Duraz. Well, maybe there is a Thane in here. Did I miss him somewhere? I thought that was a Thane ability. Runelord, Runesmith. Oh, no, the Runesmith has it. So I think they changed it. I think it used to be on Thanes. So these guys are getting debuffed, but they're still at 28 melee attack, which is not too bad, but certainly they're hitting at a small fraction of the damage that they could normally do. But this is a crazy fight. Like, if you like smash-outs between infantry and, I mean, these are some of the two of the hardest hitting infantry units in the game. The Peak Gate Guard can also hit really, really hard, but you probably don't need them in this matchup because they don't have the magic damage. Another Manticore has been summoned. We'll see if he goes after the Runesmith. The Harpies are still mucking up the Rangers. The Bolt Thrower crews have dropped their batteries, so that's a nice play by Six Path. That shows that he's kind of getting better as a player, and he's recognizing when it's time to just abandon the artillery pieces and protect the crew. We'll see that the Miners with blasting charges are going to route their attention onto the Bleak Swords. They might do a little bit of friendly fire damage here, actually. There's only, well, yeah, they got a couple lobs in there on the Blades of the Blood Queen, perhaps, but anyway, Runelord is way out of position here. Runelord needs to be supporting his troops in the midline fight, and having him way off on the side means that those snares are not going to really, I don't know, force things to fight his Hammerers in the front line, let's say. Dragonback Slayers are going to get on the Manticore Summon and dice that up pretty well, but Shades are going to shoot into the Runelord and get some free damage there, so we'll see. I think the Shades are trying to chase down the Shades. The Slayers are trying to chase down the Shades, and maybe that's why the Runelord is pushed out to that side. We'll see, but over here, that's creating an opening for Helibron. She is doing some degen damage here. The Blades of the Blood Queen are getting hit by the Wrath and Ruin, but I mean, Helibron's also getting that Guardian proc from the Blades of the Blood Queen, so it's making it just that much harder to kill Helibron. Helibron might be able to solo the entire army here if she is able to last into the late game, just because of that Mortis Engine effect and the lack of like a dedicated duelist hero on the dwarf side of things. Bounce Bar is in favor of the dwarfs, and here Six Path is faced with an interesting decision. Do you shoot the Dragonback Slayers, who are not wearing any armor, or do you continue to shoot at the Rune Lord and try and get the dwarf leadership out of the field? I think the correct answer is probably shoot the Slayers, because they have a lot of mobility, and if you have the numbers advantage, then the Shades can probably just fight the Dragonback Slayers. But if the Dragonback Slayers are like at 49 unit models versus your 56 unit models of Shades, there's a good chance the Dragonback Slayers are just going to win that fight, especially with the support of the Rune Lord. So I'd probably try and at least whittle the numbers down first, and then maybe you can kind of fight them afterwards. I mean, you can always kill the Rune Lord later. Hellebron can kill the Rune Lord. I think what you need to do is limit the mobility. But anyway, Shades are pretty much out of shots here, so we'll see. But just damage that's certainly adding up here. And so I'm happy that I was able to persuade Six Path to bring this Curse Blade, because I think that's really the main reason why you bring Hellebron in this particular matchup against really high tier dwarf infantry. It's causing them so many problems. They needed an Ungrim or like a Grombrindle or a Gotrek or something to really go up to Hellebron and just fight her in combat. And without that, I mean, she's pretty much been able to grind out mostly everything. So we'll see. We'll see if the dwarfs are going to make one last stand here, but that area of effect, degen damage, is just so effective here. Rune Lord's going to get in here. Hellebron is going to pop that Gaze of Cain, but she's actually lost all of her infantry here. So it's like really Hellebron against the world. The Shades are going to come in here, try and support. Shots coming in from the bolt throwers, just broadsiding into these hammerers. Still not the spread shot, though. I would like to see that spread shot go down. But, I mean, at this point, the leadership is so low, there's a good chance even a regular shot would be enough to break them. Hellebron is going to start fighting the Rune Lord, and yeah, everything's starting to break here. So I think we've seen just really how effective Hellebron on foot can be against the dwarfs. That's something I might have to experiment with a little bit more in the future. Granted, this was a very atypical dwarf build, and this was the type of build that really lends itself well to Hellebron's skill set. I also think the Rangers were not used at any point in the battle to shoot Hellebron. Granted, that was partly because of the Manticore summons and the Heartbees, but had they just sniped Hellebron, that could have been a big issue for Six Path. So maybe some learnings on both sides there, but fun stuff. All right, now we're going on to... let's do the game with Nameless, and then maybe I'll do the replays by Tanker and Spiffy. We'll see how the time's going. I might continue and do one or two by myself, but I have a feeling it's going to be quite late by then. So for Nameless, we've got two Necrotechs. We've got Archon the Black. We've got 2 units of Necros Knights with Halberds. And then on the Empire side, we've got some Spearmen with shields. Actually, I think I cast this battle already, so my apologies. I'm going to jump right onto the other ones. If you want to check out that battle, it's in one of my previous community casts. So what else we got here? Let's go on to Tanker, I guess, and just work our way down the list. So High Elf versus Beastmen. Let's see how this goes. Tanker is playing his Beastmen, which is his faction of choice, at least historically. And we've got a KOS MOSER. I've seen this like come up a lot more lately on ladder. A lot of people running like the double chariot nobles, and then Alariel. Going with the Star Dragon 2 is like even probably more abusive, but maybe too much of a good thing. This is a really thin army. Against Beastmen, you do risk getting full surrounded. There are Fireborn in the back as well. Alariel, I mean, her power heals on this can be really, really difficult. I do think the nobles excel better against artillery-heavy factions, though, like the Empire and the Dwarves and the Vampire Coast. I think especially the Dwarves. They do really well against Dwarves because Dwarves don't really have a spear unit. Empire can handle it better than most. So Tanker's got a Vanguard here. He's going to come in on the side, get a nice attack here on the flank. We'll see how this goes. He does have Morgur the Shadowgrave here. Is going to be used hopefully to brace the chariot charge from the nobles, or at least get in a little bit of damage here. There's not, I mean, actually the Spearmen, I'm quite impressed at how they held there against the mass of the noble. He took very little damage from that front-on charge. maybe about 10% of their damage, but Tanker's been able to brace both of his spear units against the charges here, and a bit of a micro mistake here, allowing these nobles to get maybe... Oh, I thought they got tapped in the back there, but maybe not quite. Razorgore here are going to go into the Spearmen. Spearmen should trade very well with Razorgore, especially if the Razorgore Rampage, but with the support of Morgr, actually, it looks like, and the charge bonus, they're doing surprisingly well against the Razorgore, against the Spearmen. Actually, they're going to be pushing right into the back line, which is a bit of a surprising play here, but I guess being used a little bit sacrificially to chase off the Sisters of Avalorn. Meanwhile, the Minotaurs are going in hard against the Star Dragon, but it's not the anti-large variant. Against High Elves, I do find that is the more anti-large you can bring, the better. This is why, because the Alarielle, like dragon builds are very much a la mode at the moment, but Sisters of Avalorn are just struggling to find a place to go. And even though Tanker has many more units to micro, I think the High Elf player is having a little bit of trouble microing his units properly. I mean, he had Spearman units here that could have created a screen against the Razorgore herd, but Tanker just on top of his micro, finding a way to lock them up, get in some damage, and look at the health just dripping off of these Everqueen Court Guard. Unlike the Dragon and some of these other things, once that HP is gone, it's gone. Alarielle is getting bogged down here a little bit. She is trying to break the Star Dragon free. He will get free here, but look at these Fireborn, absolutely wrapped up by spears, and it's just a numbers game. I mean, if the Fireborn are not able to cycle charge here, they're going to get chipped down over time. High Elf player having to force path a lot of things through to get to where he needs to go. Spearman getting wrapped up here. Balance bar is starting to trend in favor of Beastmen, but it has to be in favor of Beastmen pretty much the whole game. Beastmen's very much a momentum type army, and if there's a point at which the momentum stops to go in favor of the Beastmen, then the High Elves have the sustain of Alarielle to just continuously heal the Star Dragon. We'll see as the summons start to drop too, if that starts to play an effect. The Minotaurs are being used to brace against the mass of Alarielle and the Star Dragon, and it looks like they're getting in some pretty good damage here. But again, I would probably go with the Great Weapon variant if it were me playing Beastmen against High Elf. Alarielle taking a lot of damage here, and a nice summon from Morgr almost pinned her in place. She's going to escape here. Spearmen are going to try and get in a rear charge. They might not get Alarielle, but there's a good chance they could get the Fireborn if they kept going. Looks like they did drop their attack orders as Alarielle took off there, so Tanker's going to have to re-engage them. Morgr is in here. He can probably start smacking on Alarielle, or at least chipping down a few of those Fireborn models, because once they're dead, they're dead. Star Avalorn gets popped, but maybe a little bit in a weird situation. I think he tried to pop it for the Star Dragon, but the Star Dragon's not there anymore, so he's just, I mean, he's healing the Fireborn, and he's keeping those unit models alive, but I think he's just kind of buying time. And where you really want to get max value is using it on the Star Dragon and the Nobles, who, by the way, are completely wrapped up right now in spears. These Chaos Warhounds have just made it very difficult for them to do their job. And if you do have the double Noble Chariot, you kind of have to spread them out. If you move them together in a blob, it makes it much easier for the Beastmen to respond to that. A few resources have pushed off into the back here. You do have Minotaurs that have been perhaps pressuring the Everqueen's Court Guard, but they're down to 10 unit models and not really a factor at this point anymore. So it looks like Tanker is going to bring his Minotaurs back and use his heavy hitters to continue to keep that pressure on the Fireborn. Meanwhile, he'll screen them off of the Sisters with the Ungor, which is absolutely the right choice, but a bit of a scary situation here for Tanker. We do have Morgr taking a lot of damage here. He was wavering and down to about 10% HP and maybe 5% leadership. Alarielle did get in a charge there, and I do like the aggressive use of Alarielle by the High Elf player, but Morgr is a little slippery if you don't have a Lord on foot, and he does escape. Over here, he's going to do probably a call to violence here, keep the leadership up of his Ungor and other things. And yeah, I think this unit of Spearmen is going to get ground down. So a little bit scary for the High Elves now, because they've run out of shooting and they've run out of screen. So now it's literally only their large units that are left on the field. Hi Badass, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you're good. Like I said, we got to get in some games soon. It's been a while since we played. Over here we do have still a pretty good anti-large toolkit from Tanker. He's got spears across the board, he's got Minotaurs, he's got Razorgores for pins. I do think the Razorgores are really important in this case, because they're one of the few snares that he has left on the board, and they are vulnerable to Terror Roading as well. If I were the High Elf player, my focus would probably be trying to break the Razorgore herd, just so that you have a little bit more options in terms of cycle charging, but Look at these Fireborn. Man, Tanker has been on them all game, just not allowing them to move at all, completely locking them down. And they do have pretty good mass. Like, they can normally get through a lot of things, but they are getting ground down here. So we'll see if the Alarielle memes are able enough to carry. I mean, she's still really, really strong. Even with just this left, you do get a... If she does have a Star of Avalorn left, are we going to see a Dragon Breath? That is one thing I haven't seen much this game. It could roast, so looks like it got used on Spearman. I do think that Dragon Breath has to be used on Morgar. I don't know if he tried to aim on Morgar and just whiffed, but I mean, the Star Dragon Breath does really, really well against individual entities, and it possibly could have dropped Morgar. Certainly, it could have dropped him with a charge. What he probably should have done is waited for that Cygor summon to drop and then charged in on Morgar. But if Morgar's standing next to the Cygor summon, I mean, they're going to get it as good as they give it because the Cygor hits pretty hard. I mean, 450 weapon strength with AP plus whatever damage Morgar can dish out in the Magmataurus. It is going to give that mass to brace against the Star Dragon. And I do think you're going to see Tanker take this one away. Some hilarious rock shots going off at the Dragon. I mean, if the Cygor does make contact, it does pretty solid damage, but he is starting to disintegrate. You can see the orange animation effect has started to proc. Now he's going to purple, so he's on his way out. Drops the rock and gets to his knees. Face plants in traditional Cygor fashion. But now it's just Mino Bus chasing down Alarielle and the Dragon and the Nobles, but I don't know, we'll see. Tanker's going to escape to the safety of the woods. We've got the old Cycle Charge trick from the High Elves, but he's taking some damage here. Star Dragon up to 5 chevrons. This is not uncommon when you bring Alarielle on a Star Dragon, but I think Alarielle's dead now, so there's really no heals left on the field, and aggregate damage should be able to chip down the Star Dragon, so yeah, badass. Let's play tomorrow. I'm free tomorrow. Let's do it. So we got KOS Moser losing a tough matchup against Tanker. Nice game. 210 kills on the Noble and 218 on the other Noble Chariot. I mean, they're wildly OP, but Tankers still kept them under control just with numbers there. All right, we got another game here. Tanker's going with his greenskins, maybe his second favorite army besides Beastbane. He's bringing Skarsnik for some anti-large. Going up against a Khemrian War Sphinx, 2 Ushopti Great Bows. We got a Tomb Scorpion here, and like some Kepler Guards. So kind of a bold play here from the Tomb Kings. I guess they wanted a bit of fighting power to like give it back to the greenskins, but I do think like in a straight melee scrap, the Kepler Guard, sorry, I say Kepler Guard, the Nahakara Warriors, the Kepler Guard is the ROR version of Nahakara Warriors. But anyway, in a straight up scrap, I mean, you can't contest greenskins with infantry. It's just not going to work. You have to rely on your Khemrian War Sphinx to interrupt the infantry. But we'll see, actually. I mean, in this particular build that Tanker brought, he's got some Goblin Spears across the side, so not the traditional like heavy-hitting Orc infantry build that you might expect. He's bringing the double Arachnarok Spider, so going with a monster-heavy build and actually starting to spend his money on individual entities, which is something you don't see Tanker do very often. But I do think the Arachnaroks are very good answers to things like Khemrian War Sphinxes, so long as you can snare them down for a little bit. I did see some YouTubers, I think Dav Plays and stuff, advocating for this type of build. So I think Tanker's probably just experimenting with it and giving it a go. The double Arachnarok plus Skarsnik gives you some really, really strong anti-large options. I think you use the nets from the Arachnarok Queen to just pin things. Goblin Big Boss is going to run his ass off here against the Tomb Prince and Archon, but he is on the Spider, I believe. Is he? Yeah, he is on the Spider, which means he's not... Look at him scurrying away. He's going hard, but he's not fast enough to get away from these undead boys. But on the other hand, these undead boys got a little greedy here, and yeah, they killed the Goblin Big Boss, but it might cost them their lives. They've been full surrounded by Tanker here. Ragnarok Queen is right there. I mean, she can go in there and do some damage. I'm not sure where Tanker is force pathing that Ragnarok Queen. He should certainly get in there on Archon the Black. He's trying to get in that rear charge perhaps, but yeah, if that Arachnarok hits on Archon, that's going to be so painful for the Tomb Kings. Over here we have Force Goblin Skydrags getting tied up by the Nahakara Warriors. Backline is getting locked up by the Goblin Big Boss and the Goblin Wolf Riders. And I like that nested approach because the Goblin Big Boss will be able to do some damage, and the Goblin Wolf Riders are going to screen the Goblin Big Boss to prevent him from just getting killed, basically, by the Ushopti. So that's a really nice play there from Tanker. Over here, Archon and the Tomb Prince are getting full surrounded. And look at the Look at this Arachnarok Queen just stripping the paint off this Tomb Prince. He is crumbling almost immediately, and in return, the Arachnarok Queen has taken absolutely no damage. So really nice net there from Tanker to just lock these guys down, and the Khemrian War Sphinx just kind of like pissed off. I don't know what he just kind of left these guys to dry. The like there was a skeleton warrior summoned by Arkan, but that's kind of just buying time. What he needed to do was use the Khemrian War Sphinx to clear a path through the Goblin Spears so that he could pull the Tomb Prince and Arkan basically out of that blob. But with the Khemrian War Sphinx just sitting on the side, there was basically no hope of those guys ever getting out of there. The mass just pinning them in place. On the other hand, the frontline engagement is going a little bit better for the Tomb Kings, as we might expect, given that all Tanker really brought were spears. These goblins, they're holding, they're doing an admirable job here, but looks like maybe the micro mistakes here from the Tomb King player. Tomb Scorpion actually getting charged instead of doing the charging on the archers and other things, so it'll give a little more time for the archers to do work. Arachnarok over here, gonna be absolutely fine against the Znakar Warriors, and Skarsnik and the Goblin Big Boss are cutting up the Ushabti Great Bow, which is shutting down the missile fire against the Arachnarok Queen. So without the Ushabti Great Bows, I think there's very little on the field that the Tomb Kings will be able to do to bring down the Arachnarok Queen, given that Archon and the Tomb King are in tough, and the Tomb King's already dead. This unit of Ushabti Great Bow is still online, and of course there are still 2 units of Carrion, but I haven't seen the Carrion really putting in work just yet. I mean, that's another option. Maybe they could have been used to create a screen for Archon just to get them out. They're going to go in on the Goblin Wolf Riders, maybe try and break them off. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of things they could have been doing. They could have been maybe suppressing some of the missile fire there too, making it a little easier for the Tomb Scorpion to do work. But I do think that, I mean, unless Archon gets out of here, it's going to be a short game. So, oh, he does escape. He does escape. But let's see. The Arachnarok Queen is, I mean, she's got summons, and she's a glue unit. That's why you bring her in the Greenskins army. And look, the poison effect going to keep Archon just locked down once again. More summons go up. His speed goes down to, what, 57 with the Arachnarok's poison effect. And don't forget, the Spider Hatchlings also have the poison effect. So just so hard for Archon to get out of there. That's why you have to keep your Lords in the back line. Just be really disciplined. I mean, trust that your Ushabti Great Bow are going to do the job that they need to do. Trust in your front line. And yeah, so we'll see. I think this game is pretty much done. I'm going to fast forward a little bit here so we can see the ending, and I will hop along to the next replays ASAP. So Khemrian War Sphinx is going to get chased around here by the Arachnarok. As predicted, Archon is just going to get bullied by the other Arachnarok. And Khemrian War Sphinx, I mean, it's meant for dealing with infantry, but it's not. It has no chance against the Arachnarok. So there you go. We'll play to Tanker. I mean, I think he had the tools with the double Ushabti. I mean, that could have done okay. Maybe you would need an actual Bone Giant against double Arachnarok. Tanker's lucky he didn't draw a double Bone Giant. But, I mean, even if he did, Skarsnik and 2 Arachnaroks probably would have done okay if they could just push up and get in there. All right, so we've got another one here. Midland versus Greenskins. We are seeing Skarsnik featured again here along with 2 Goblin Big Bosses. We've got Chariots, Light Cavalry, some Orc Shooties, and Biggins going up against Empire with a lot of chevrons. They're just showing off all the chevrons they've got here. They've got cannons. They've got 2 archers in the back line. Let's see how this goes. Got an Empire Captain in General of the Empire, some swordsmen in the back. There is a Great Cannon. There is also a Grey Wizard with way too many spells. So just probably dumping like 2k on the Grey Wizard, just totally not worth it. General of the Empire on foot, which is a bit surprising. I mean, you're going to spend that much on your Grey Wizard, you might as well pimp up your General of the Empire a little bit. Empire Captain also on foot, so not something you see every day. Let's take a look at the advance. So Tanker is going to be patient here. He's going to wrap around the side, get his full surround as he is wont to do. Some shots going to go in here on the side from the Goblin Wolf Riders. They're going to get counter shot by the archers. But they're shooting at the trees and against skirmishers. They're just really having a hard time positioning in a way that they're able to get effective damage off. Over here, the Empire Knights are going to be poked a little bit by the Goblin Wolf Rider archers. Honestly, there's no AP on these guys, so even if they do hit the Empire Knights, as long as the Empire Knights are face them, it shouldn't matter that much. Grey Wizard's going to whiff on a pendulum. You should not use your magic on skirmishers, and that is why. He just dropped a whole bunch of magic on a 300 gold unit that never even connected. Over here, these Goblin Wolf Riders are going to retreat to the safety of the forest, but these archers just taking aggregate damage. Every time they rotate to square up, Tanker pulls back and shoots them from another direction. So just being very patient here and whittling down. It looks like the archer units, the great cannons, basically whatever he can get free damage on. So if you're the Empire Pub, what you need to do is start pushing out your front line, get your spears off to the side, let Tanker shoot into your shields. You can also maybe send some pistoliers at them had he brought any. In this case, he didn't. So a lot of free damage here from Tanker, but Balance Bar is not shifting that much because at the end of the day, it's still kind of light damage. On the other hand, these are, I mean, highly chevron units, so even these spearmen, which normally would be like kind of throwaway units, they're going up to 500-600 gold. It's not like completely useless. Empire Knights are going to dive in here, try and break up the front line, just buy a little bit more time. I have not seen what the cannon is shooting at. It looks like already 2 artillery pieces have been chipped down from the aggregate fire of the Goblin Wolf Riders, so a lot of damage there. It looks like the 3rd battery is smoking. It might drop really soon. Great Swords are trying to like maybe soak some shots here, but I mean, it's still Great Swords. They're a pretty expensive unit to soak shots. But we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know if this was the map to bring a lot of skirmishers on. Tanker does have chariots. He's got a lot of things, but he doesn't hit very hard. I mean, where's the Crimson Killers? This is his hard hitting unit. So I take it back. I mean, this unit, if it gets through the forest, which I think is what Tanker's trying to do, comes in on the side here, it's going to be able to clear a path through pretty much anything it wants. The Empire Knights can cycle charge some stuff. But, I mean, I don't see what answers the Empire has, really, to the Crimson Killers. Empire Captain plus the General of the Empire could do some damage, but they'd be countered by the 2 big bosses. The Grey Wizard could do it with Pit of Shades and Pendulum, especially if he casts Withering first to strip some of the armor. But he wasted a lot of Winds of Magic early on against the skirmish cast, so I don't know if he's going to have the Winds of Magic he needs to buff the Crimson Killers. I do think that Wog proc is probably a little bit early. It would have been nice to see it go down once the Crimson Killers are in contact, but Tanker I guess he's ready to commit here with most of his stuff, and he's going to get in charge with his Orc boys. Maybe he figures by the time the Crimson Killers get in contact, he'll have another Wog ready to go. I mean, Scarsnake is one of the better options in terms of getting Wog procs going. I think Tanker's maybe being a little bit too safe with Skarsnik. Honestly, Skarsnik is still a pretty good duelist. He's got a decent HP pool at 5k. Like, I mean, that's more than the General of the Empire probably, and it's more than the Empire Captain. Empire Captain's sitting at 2,700. Where's the General of the Empire? General of the Empire is hitting at 3,000, sitting at 3,000. So Skarsnik actually has 2,000 more HP than the General of the Empire, which is kind of weird that a Goblin has more HP. But I guess it's really, what's the name of his mount? I forget. But it's this guy, the Squig, that must be giving him an HP. Ball and Chain Squig. So charge is coming in here. Grey Wizard getting wrapped up by the Goblin Big Boss. And front line is buckling here. But the Great Sword's holding tough. Goblin Wolf Chariots are going to get in some side and rear charges here. And I do think that they are going to drop. And with the Great Swords out of the equation, I mean, it's a wide open opportunity for the Crimson Killers to come in. I mean, Tanker's going to win this game without his Crimson Killers. He just sat like 2k of his army on the side and still pretty much won this game. But dude, like, just push them up. We want to see the Crimson Killers go to work, man. They're not on vacation. They got crunking to do. Let's go. Okay, here they come. Really, really late to the party. Goblin Big Boss is in here just cutting stuff up. Skarsnik's full HP. I think that was kind of an easy win for Tanker, I'm not going to lie. But just really methodical, just picking at the flanks. I played some games against Tanker as Skaven, and he played as Norska, and he brought skirmishers, and he was really able to do kind of a similar approach that he did in this game, just kind of picking off at the side. Yeah, or exactly where he needs to be. Exactly. So what do we got here? Oh, we got a 3v3 game. That's nice. We'll mix it up a little bit here. We've got YNWA, who's joined our Discord server as well and played in one of our tournaments earlier, so that's cool to see him here. He's teaming up with Tanker and Malverdi, who's playing Skaven. I'm not familiar with Malverdi, nor am I familiar with the other players. So we'll see. This is probably a casual game here. What do we have? Oh, it's Stir River. Interesting map. This should make for a fun game to cast. There's a choke point in the center here that you have to be really careful about, but there are opportunities to flank around the side. It's just that you have to have a lot of patience, and it's going to take a long time to get around the side. But once you get around the side, you can cause, well, you can cause some issues depending on what your opponent brings. Probably in this map, you want to have like a decent shooting army to kind of like take the center position, and then you want probably spears and cav to be able to wrap around the side. There's opportunities to wrap for both sides. Usually I think what you'd see is this faction would probably come around this way because that way they're going from high ground to low ground. The other side, they might want to wrap the other way and go from the high ground to low ground kind of this way. So you sort of get like a corkscrew motion in the game if both players are playing, I think, the way that it needs to be played. In terms of army comps, what do we have? We've got the Plague Claw Catapults from Skaven, 2 of them. In the back, there's Poison Wind Mortars, who are going to take some shots here. They're going to be trading shots with the Sunmaker. Sunmaker is very expensive artillery. You might want to bring those back. In a 1v1, it can probably win against the Plague Claws, but in a 2v1, there's a good chance it's going to lose. On the other hand, there is a steam tank as well. I'm not sure what the steam tank is firing at, but there could be some micro-terrain issues here. I'm not sure if the steam tank is going to be able to get that line of sight that it needs to shoot at those artillery pieces. I think it is going to reposition up here onto the hill and maybe try and shoot down from here. We do have some Quarrelers positioning up on the ledge, and Dread Spears are going to push in here, try and occupy the front line position, but these Dread Spears are going to die immediately once these miners with blasting charges unload on them. There are 2 units clumped up here. They're getting shot from above as well, and so the leadership is going to just collapse, and it's kind of a throwaway of 800 gold if you ask my opinion. Over here we do have Scourge Runner Chariots coming up the flanks. We do have Dark Riders as well. Dark Riders are going to get the charge in on Empire Knights. I mean, not usually what they want to be fighting, but if you do have the charge bonus, hey, why not? The Slaanesh Harvesters are there as well. Slaanesh Harvesters hit pretty hard with the charge bonus and a debuff from Marathi and such. I mean, they'll do okay. And Marathi is in the back there, further debuffing the leadership of the Empire Knights, which is not fantastic, and debuffing their stats. So actually these Empire Knights are down to 8 melee attack because of Marathi and the effect of poison. So, yeah, trading upwards there. So as much as I criticize the Dread Spear play on the front, I really like this play on the side here from the Dark Elf player. There's a lot going on. Let's take a look on the other side of the battlefield. We've got, I'm guessing this is Tanker playing Beastman. We've got summons across the board here. Fan Manticore is coming in here, getting in some charges. Looks like the Spears are having a tough time against the Saurus, which are just kind of holding the line here. But numbers are starting to be an issue here. A lot of things are being ground down and starting to break. And because they are so close to the edge of the map, there's a good chance that they will not come back. And that's true for both sides. Empire's going to rotate over here and try and hold the line here, as they like to say in Reichland and Midland. This is Midland, I guess. Dread Sword's going to come over here and try and do a little bit of damage. So 2 games featuring Midland, kind of interesting here. Yeah, Civil Bullet's going to rotate over here. This big boy is going to cause some issues here for the Beastmen, as is Gorok. It's really hard for the Beastmen to get through that, and it looks like Tankers decided to do a full withdrawal. Seeing the big boy, the Dread Saurian, come over there with Gorok, he's just like, screw it, you know what, there's too much shooting here. And honestly, I think it's the right choice. That is, a lot of resources did get pulled over there to deal with the Beastmen, and the Beastmen have a lot of mobility, so they do have the option to just disengage if it's not the right fight for them. Which means, because there's so many resources over here with Tanker, the Dwarfs are in a scenario where they are getting 2v1 to a certain extent. They're fighting the Dark Elves. Dark Elf shots coming in here into the Runesmith. Interesting to see the Scourge Runner Chariots being used to snipe Lords. We'll see if they're effective enough there. I think they're starting with the Runesmith here, kind of chipping him down. Maybe they want to get rid of as many Master Rune of Wrath and Runes as they can, so that they can cycle charge infantry. Not a bad play there. We'll see how it goes. The Canine Assassin is also being used to chip them down. And nothing has been used to sort of lock him up. So we'll see how that goes. Canine Assassin, I mean, his damage, it looks good on paper, but it takes a really long time to be effective because he doesn't have great AP values. So Against lords that don't have armor, yeah, Assassin's not a bad option. He's good against Skaven, if he can ever stick on his target. He's good against, like, say, Beastmen, for example. He's not super effective at taking out Dwarf Lords. Rear charge coming in from Slaanesh Harvesters. They don't have a lot of kills, but they've been fighting like pretty heavily armored stuff. They did kill the Empire Knights, and again with Morathi, they're getting some pretty good work in on the Saurus. Melee attack down to 11 on the Saurus warriors. Morathi is very effective against the Saurus. Over here, it looks like Boris Todbrinker got a little bit greedy. I guess the Dread Saurian got pulled back, and Boris didn't realize that his big boy left him alone, and Tanker decided to push back in with Gorok and the Dread Saurian going over here to help out against the Dwarf. Then it's more of a, it's not exactly a 1v1 situation because there's still some Temple Guard and other Lizardman stuff over here, but at least it's not like wildly stacked against Tanker like it was before, I guess. So patience paying off over here. There's still the Steam Tank, but the Steam Tank looks like it's obstructed. I don't know. I think it's trying to shoot at the Summoned Mint. I don't know what it's trying to shoot at, honestly. But it's not going to be shooting for long because in come the Chaos Warhounds, and they're going to lock it up. And some Minotaurs are going to follow up there and probably take down that Steam Tank. So that could be a costly loss there. There's a lot going on. There's been no backline pressure from any of these armies here. So actually, these Plague Catapults have been firing all game. Skaven getting in a lot of damage here. Runesmith is being chipped down. We've seen the effect of the Scourge Runner Chariots just adding up. And a Soul Stealer also contributing to the pain felt by these Runesmith. Morathi is getting caught up here a little bit from the Dread Saurian and some of the leadership, it looks like. I do think the Knight Assassin tried to go in and assassinate, but like I was saying, like it doesn't do super great at that job against Dwarves for some reason. Maybe it tried to put in some damage on the Dread Saurian, but yeah, Dread Saurian taking shots here for 3 Scourge Runner Chariots, and they've been pretty much free to do whatever they want all game. Like, Dwarves have not had any sort of Thunderers or mid-range shooting here. Gorok getting chipped down from aggregate damage, I guess. And the slow grind of the Plague Claw is just beating in on the Longbeard. So this battle's pretty much done. Yeah, Badass doesn't like this map, eh? I mean, it is kind of choke pointy. It does favor shooting to a certain extent. But Tanker's been able to win this side with relatively little shooting against quite a bit of shooting. So, yeah, well played to everyone. I think we can pretty much call this game. We'll see. Wow, look at this Plague Priest getting right into the action. Very low on HP, but being brave with the boys and the Death Runners, the rats, I guess. And yeah, we'll play. Let's look at the kill screen, see who gets all the glory. So Malverde, Plague Claws were pretty good. I think the Dark Elf player did what they needed to do for the most part. Jet Spears were kind of throwaway, but the Scourge Runners, you know, they were free to do what they wanted. Morathi actually, she took out some really important cavalry that was kind of isolated, and she also helped with this guy, the Dread Saurian, and other things. So I think Morathi actually did pay for herself for sure in that matchup. All right, we're on to Spiffy, the Spiffy special. What do we have here? Oh, actually, this is a 2v2 game featuring myself and Spiffy. Casual game. We're going up against a guy named Drayton and Kyrian Anime. Kieran? Is that a reference to StarCraft? Kieran? Isn't that the name of the ghost character in StarCraft? I think so. Hello everyone who's joining. I see we have 4 people watching the live stream right now. It is late at night, and I'm sure you've all got important sleep to be catching up on, but I appreciate you hanging out here with me. And yeah, just going on another one of my replay marathons. There's always something to learn. Every battle you watch, no battle is ever the same. And even if you've seen 1,000 battles, there's always something you can learn here. So let's see. So in this matchup, I'm actually playing the Empire. And I've seen people use this as like kind of a safe spot in a sense. You can play defensively here with the trees. You know you can't be rear charged really because of the cliff. But because of the deployment here, and because Spiffy was off on the side, I decided, you know what, I'm going to just rotate around here and maybe try and go around the side and regroup with Spiffy, because what I didn't want to happen was really the Wood Elves to just dive down me on the Vamp Counts and me to get like trapped here on this cliff. Looking at the Wood Elf army as well, they had war dancers across the line and a lot of spears, and this is really like an old school infantry grind Vampire Counts army. How's it going, Nameless? So I'm gonna be honest here. Like the Vampire Counts player was a newer player, but like I mean, I'm showing you replays as honest as they are. You're seeing like like the whole kind of community. Some games you're gonna see high tier games, some games you're gonna see lower tier games. I don't want to like de-inflate this battle like before it's even begun, but you know, even in the low tier games, like I was saying, usually there's something you can learn. So right off the bat here, this is a lot of clumping, not ideal. And what you're going to see is like a little bit of miscommunication here between the two armies. So the Wood Elves, it looks like they kind of wanted to push out to deal with me, maybe. Whereas the Vampire Counts have gone all in on Spiffy here. Like, well, sort of. I mean, some stuff has gotten left behind. You do have some Graveguard in the back here, but like a good chunk of his army has like commit fully to fighting Spiffy here. So what's Spiffy going to do about it? He's going to use the Chaos Marauders. They're going to cut up zombies, no problem. Over here, a bit of a scary situation for Svigal, kind of. I mean, he does get full surrounded, but actually that's kind of hilarious. The Necromancer actually goes into Svigal and is like, you know what? I may be an old man, but I'm going to take on the... he got in a shot there, too. I'm going to take on the champion of Slaanesh with my old man moves. I just want to see this. Look at this guy come up there. Look at him just kick Svigal in the face. What a boss. What a boss. That old man's... I hope to be like him when I get old. I want to be in the nursing home kicking champions of Slaanesh in the face. For me, nothing too exciting here. I kind of like a spear screen and missile troops kind of in the back, but I knew I could get over here and help out Spiffy before the Wood Elves could get over there and help out, just because of the positioning and because of this like huge cliff. It was kind of blocking out the most direct line here. We're going to see a big burning head coming down here from Spiffy. Absolutely roasting. Oh my god. This is like the dirty version of Moses just parting the Red Sea, except it's like a bunch of undead chaff. But look at that, one burning head, erasing like 12 units. I mean, that might be one of the most savage casts I've ever seen. I've seen like Vargeist's Revenge eliminate like 250 models in like one cast, but that's got to be like close. I don't know, where's the Firecaster from Spiffy? Here he is. 220 kills on that Firecaster. That is absolutely savage. Oh my goodness. Spiffy going ham. Over here we've got just Chaos Marauders doing what Chaos Marauders do. Marauding. Jagged Ogres are kind of buffering their mass. Doing some damage here. Wild Rider's going to get pinned down by the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Knights of the Blazing Sun are not going to bypass the physical resist of the Wild Riders. That's a common misconception. Wild Riders physical resist, you need magic damage to bypass that. Fire damage ain't going to cut it. But they're still going to do pretty well against Wild Riders. They do have 100 armor versus 40 armor of the Wild Riders. With a charge bonus, I mean, they're going to cut them down. Plus, of course, there are the Dragonors here. This unit of Chaos Warhounds is going to get chased off by Wild Riders. But yeah, I mean, overall, mobility is starting to get chipped down. There's really only 2 units of Wild Riders, and everything else is infantry. Are we going to see another one of those burning heads go down here? I would kind of like to see that. For me, I'm just kind of cycle charging here with my Knights of the Blazing Sun. Just getting in some chip damage to support the infantry line. I mean, it is a grind here, but is this my turn to play here with a little bit of cast damage? Maybe not. I tend not to bring vortex spells that look like that. Nope, that's piercing bolts. That's Spiffy again. He gets all the credit. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but Spiffy's up to 221 damage kills. I mean, I feel like he did better with he did better with the burning head. I mean, why does piercing bolts even exist? You can just burning head everything. There's Durthu in the back here. I've got Tallbringer. I've got the Jade Wizard. I can heal stuff. But we got Svigal, so he doesn't care. He doesn't need healing. He's coming out of this looking as shiny as he did going in. And Old Man versus Svigal. I mean, this is a duel of the century, right? These two just going at it. But I think the Old Man is starting to get like kind of crumbly. Down he goes. He didn't lose his head, and he just disappeared, so that's cool. Maybe he did a magic trick. Go into the crypt. Chaos Warrior is going to go in here against Durthu. Battlesport is starting to tilt a little bit in our favor here. Really, there's only Durthu kind of holding the line. Because of the map, I mean, honestly, we are balling up too, like way more than we should. So, fortunately for us, our opponents didn't really have anything to punish us too much. Actually, he does have Wind of Death, so maybe he could have punished us, but I think we were honestly taking it a little bit easy here. I don't know, we'll see. I was microing the cab though. I was busy, like, I mean, let's give our opponent some credit here. I got the silver bullets in the back line. I do the crossbow and shooting in here. Erasing some War Dancers. Obviously War Dancers very lightly armored, so they're going to take the full effects of that archer fire. There's another burning head. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This fire mage is going off. He is having himself a day. 268 kills. He's not done yet. He might get up to 300 before it's all said and done. Master Necromancer is getting chipped down. Pharaoh Manticore is just chilling over top here. I think he's not sure what to do. And if you're a Pharaoh Manticore, I mean, I don't know. What would you do? What do Pharaoh Manticores do in their spare time? Do they eat berries? Do they hunt Pegasi? What do they even eat? Cows, maybe? I don't know. I'm going to fast forward this one. I think you can see where it's going, and I'm sure we have better games to get to than this one, but, I mean, you know, let's give it its due. Dirthu's in here. Does he have Sword of Dave? That'd be kind of cool. If he pops Sword of Dave here, man, he'd get crazy value, but he doesn't. I don't even think he casts Flock of Doom. So, well played to Spiffy. We got another game with me and Spiffy in here. I think we only played two games together, but they're both fun. I liked playing on that map. I think that's what made that game fresh. Sorry, Spiff, I didn't show the final kill count of your fire cast here, but it was good. It was up there. I mean, you did work. What do we have here? Empire Beastmen. Oh, so we got back-to-back games of me and Spiffy here. What are we doing in this one? So against Kira and Anime. So again, this was, I think, the new player. I don't remember. And the High Elves. And I'm playing the Empire. So I've been having fun with, well, you'll see. You'll see what my new, fun unit has been. Once it loads in. Hint, it has Hell in it. And it doesn't have Storm in it. That's right. It's the Hell Blaster Volley Gun. Master Blaster. So I've been actually, I think was it Dav Plays used these recently, and I'm not an artillery guy. I mean, if there's one thing I very rarely use, it's artillery. But I think if you try and play the game in different ways, it makes you a better player. And even if I never become an artillery guy, if I learn how to use artillery and protect it, then it also helps me play offense against people who do use artillery. So here we've got double Cygors. That's going to be very helpful for me because these guys have got 450 range. That is absolutely critical because it means that the 380 range of the bolt thrower is not large enough to outrange these Hellblaster volley guns, which means that they are forced to advance, which means that I get to go pew pew and have all the fun and get all the credit. Which is, let's be real here. That's what Empire is all about, right? So we got shots going into the Dragon Princes from the Hellblaster, Hellblaster, I said it right. And broadside shots too, so this should do a lot of damage. I'm expecting I don't know, I'm going to make up a number, 6 unit models to drop from each volley. I was wrong, 2 models dropped. But maybe the next, I think it's just because they're rotating, they're not really getting in a full volley, but eventually they'll get shots. There's a lot happening here. So front line, what's going on? So some Peg Knights just dove down to try and shut down the Cygors, but that's really brave play because all of these spears are here, and little did they know, hidden in the woods, I had a light caster somewhere. Where is he? I've got a General of Empire on the foot. Yeah, here's the light wizard. So if you have 3 Peg Knights, you better have an evacuation plan. You need your parachute, buddy, because if not, you're going to get triple netted by an overcast net of Ammontok. You're going to lose 3 units of Peg Knights in one go. That's 3,600 gold, something like that. I will say as well, if you are going to go with an artillery heavy build, a light caster might be the way to go. You might want to pick that before going with something like a life caster, because that snare just gives you so many more options. Pistolier is going to shoot into the Flamespire Phoenix here. On the far flank, the highly Chevron Lothran Seaguard. I'm going to deal with my Spearmen and the Swordsman, but frankly, I don't really care. As long as the Hellblaster is blasting away, and they are, remember the Dragon Princes, then I'm okay with that. Over here, we do have Tyrion pushing in the front line. Now, maybe these weren't the noobs. These guys are better players than the other people we played last game. So, yeah, I'll give them some respect. Maybe, I guess. Peasant Bowman being very aggressive here, pushing into the Hellblaster volley gun, even though they are sitting in Rapants and Spears. They're just so eager to shoot their bows into the Hellblasters that they're willing to take Spears to the face as they load the ammo on their quivers. So, I don't know. It's an interesting choice. Cygors are shooting. Bolt thrower is shooting as well. I probably have started to lose artillery pieces. I did lose an artillery piece here. I'm slightly obstructed by my own things over here, but I mean, we have so much in place here to just anchor that front line. Pistoliers are over here with Morgar and other things. We got summons, just summons for days. Tyrion's going to go in here, and he's going to be smashing it with the Cygor. I'm going to send in the General of the Empire and use that Foz protection on the General of the Empire so that he doesn't take a ton of damage from Tyrion. And because he goes on foot, look at his melee defense, 93 from the General of the Empire. That is like on par with the melee defense of Tyrion when he's got Feint and Riposte procced. So it's going to take a really long time for Tyrion to do what he needs to do. He's full surrounded. I know he's a tank, but he's just not in the right situation here. Spears are going to get pushed up here. I do think we have completely secured the front line. Now it's a question of just tidying up the flanks. The Fireborn were so tattered here that I was able to deal with them with the Pistoliers. And now we're starting to have a situation where we can go on offense, push out the aggressors, get in some rear charges with Pistoliers and other things. We do have a lot of opportunities here. And of course the Cygors are still firing. I mean, we can keep chucking rocks here. So balance bar is pretty far gone. We do have a Paladin getting tied up here by Empire Knights and Halberdiers. So yeah, if you're looking for a fun Empire build to try out and you do like playing artillery, I mean, I had a blast playing this build. It was really fun. I do think it comboed very, very well with what Spiffy brought because it gave that extra range. I would say if you are going solo as Empire and there's a possibility that someone could be bringing something like another artillery piece with more range than the 290 that you have on the Hellblaster, you might want to bring 1 or 2 cannons as an insurance policy and just 1 Hellblaster to force them to engage, because otherwise if they have bolt throwers or things like that, then it can deal with you. Yeah, blast from the past. So yeah, it was good fun. I mean, like I said, I never play artillery builds, but if you got a 12 unit stack with a light wizard and some artillery, I mean, I don't know, balance build, I felt like it did what it needed to do. I remember playing against Justice. He used to bring 2 light wizards, maybe Marcus as well. It used to be so hard to take out his artillery. I think 1 is hard enough if used well, but yeah. Look at Iron Warslib and Cygor getting absolutely crazy kills, and that doesn't even show the kills that he got with his summoned units, who were bashing on Tyrion as well, don't forget that. Tyrion was in a little bit tough there. He lost the Peg Knights early on, and I do think the Peasant Bowmen kind of got, like, they kind of pushed in a little too aggressively. Vickman, he tried. He did okay, but there was really no place for the Dragon Princess to go. Partly that's because of the map, too. All right. What do we have here? Decent win. Bretonnia and Lizardmen. We have an Albrecht sighting with a flying circus, Paladin, Lifecaster, just spears, so very light front line. So hit and run tactics, kind of small map. We'll see how that plays out. Ancient Salamander, Umbral Tide. Umbral Tide is of course stocked, remember, so Bretonnia has no idea that they're there yet. Well, that was pretty short-lived because they just revealed themselves immediately with some aggressive play. I would have liked to see them used in the back line and maybe like surprise something after it had landed. Right now it's a little bit too safe, I mean, Bretonnia has the opportunity to like respond to them. I don't know. Croc gonna go in here on the Mounted Yeomen. These Yeomen are deadzos. Yeomen probably could have been a little more patient there, just waiting behind the screens, but we'll see. They did chase off the Umbral Tide at least for a little while, so it should buy a bit of time for Spiffy to do some work with other things. The Flyers could be maybe chasing them now. We'll see. I mean, while these guys are dealing with the Mounted Yeoman Archers, that means they can't deal with the Flyers, so I really think it's just a question of can you keep everything moving all at once. The Ancient Salamander is very, unfortunately for this Lizardman player, standing behind Lord Skroak. So he's obstructed. He has not fired, I don't think, a single shot. Maybe he's realized that now, or not. He's repositioned, and he's going to shoot into these flying cavalry. I do think he should shoot the Life Wizard instead. As tempting as it may be to kill the cavalry here, we are going to see, what is this, Kroak dropping some damage on the Royal Peg Knights. The Peg Knights are taking a lot of damage here. This is quite a brave move by Bretonnia. Like, I'm trying to alpha strike Kroak out right off the bat. I mean, I would have gone after Kroak or the Salamander or the Hunting Pack instead of Kroak, but wow, I mean, the chivalrous thing here, I guess, is going right after Kroak and Spiffy not giving a shit. So he's showing that, wow, Albrecht plus the Paladin able to go in there and just do a ton of damage to Kroak. So in terms of front line, it's going, as you might predict, very, very badly for the Bretonnians, since they have no front line, really. I mean, 4 spears doesn't really count. On the other hand, in the special units, I mean, the Salamander's still obstructed. Like, just, I don't know, like, he hasn't been used properly all game, I think. And the Umbral Tide, I mean, they're shooting spears, so not shooting what they need to be doing. They need to be shooting Albric, or, like I said, the Lifecaster. I don't think they're in position to shoot the Lifecaster. Lord Croak really doesn't have any good targets. I mean, he can kill spears, sure, but like 2,200 gold for something to kill spears. I mean, the Lizardmen can do that with 2 units of Saurus anyways. They could have murdered the shit out of the Saurus, out of the spears with the 2 units of Saurus. They did not need Croak. A lot of damage going into the Peg Knights from the Umbral Tide. That's very painful. Balance bar pretty much even. Paladin's going to go in on Croak. But again, I think the Bretonnians can just ignore Croak. In all honesty, just looking at what they have, I mean, the killing power for Bretonnia is all in their special units. It's Albric, it's the Paladin, it's the Pegs. They don't really need to worry about their infantry dying because, I mean, honestly, Lizards can already do that if they want to. This unit of Peg Knights is going to get assassinated by the Lizards with the spicy breath. Maybe. Little payback, though. Little payback. You got Human, Spears, Knights of the Realm, Pegasus Knights getting in on them. Lizardman player does have to micro them, I believe. They do not have a skirmish mechanic. Salamander is doing absolutely nothing here. Still, I think. It's 2k unit, done nothing pretty much all game. Croaks died. The Saurus Warriors did not get a full surround on Albric or the Paladin. So Albric and Paladin have pretty much gone from important target to important target, just kind of killing them. The only suggestion to Spiffy would be maybe change the priority of the target. In this case, the Lizardman player made some mistakes with how he used the H Salamander. But if I were playing against the Lizardman with the build that you brought here, I think priority targets taking out the Umbral Tide, the Ancient Salamander. Maybe keep your spears back for a little bit until some work had been done there. And then, I mean, you can kill Croak at any time once those other units are off the field. But, yeah, good game to Spiffy. Very high tier Lizardman army there. Not a lot to screen. Honestly, usually bringing a couple of those Skinks with Poison can be a good choice there. Alright, we're on to Bordalo versus Tomb Kings. I'm going to keep rolling here. We've got a few more replays, but we're getting down the list. Maybe 4 or 5 more. And, yeah. So we got Albric on probably the Peg Knight again. Or the Hippo. We've got a Lifecaster. We've got Grail Guardians, which are really good against Undead. So I like to see them in this matchup. We have Grail Knights as well, and Pegasus Knights up in the air. Bretonnian going with a lot of magic damage options, which is the right choice against Undead, of course. Battle Pilgrims will do very well against the front line of Tomb King. You do have magic damage coming from, of course, the Grail Knights, the ROR, Knights of the Lionhearted, and the Grail Guardians. So all of this should stack up very well, again, against the physical resist that we often see the Tomb Kings bring. Let's take a look if you see how caster here that will provide physical resist. It doesn't look like it. They're going heavy with Ushabti. Actually, I really like this build from the Tomb Kings as well, because I think the Ushabti do not rely on the physical resist. They should do very well against cavalry, so provided they don't get surrounded. So we'll see how it goes. It's anyone's game here. It really depends on what engagements they get. Ushabti being used very aggressively here. They're going to go into the Peasants. Not really an optimal choice. I mean, they really want to go into the Knights rather than getting charged by the Knights. They also want to be fighting in their spears. That is the one risk of bringing unsupported Ushabti. Well, I mean, basically you want to push the spears and charge with the Ushabti. I mean, mobility, it's really up to Bretonnia to determine when and where to engage, because if you don't break Carrion or like Cav, you just don't have the speed to pick the fights against the Bretonnians because you're fastest moving unit. Well, I mean, not your fastest unit moving unit, but the unit you need to use to engage is the spears. And yeah, I don't know. You do have your Ushabti in the back for shooting, so you probably didn't need to dive out there with the Ushabti. To be perfectly honest, you could have kept him back and chilled for a little bit. Necrotect is here. We'll see if he's used to maybe heal the Ushabti. He does have the healing spell, and he can buff their damage a little bit. Khalida is going to get in here and do some damage to the Battle Pilgrims. Maybe she'll push towards the Grail Reliquary. We'll have to monitor that. We're going to see the Trident come down here, ripping across the front line. So Albrecht doing a ton of damage on these Skelly Spears. Kills 1 unit, 2 units straight off the bat. I really like that play because the leadership debuff, it's kind of like a burning head for Bretonnia. Super effective against Undead. We do have some idle knights here that could probably be used to wrap around. But, ooh, and a Dwellers Below being used here. Looks like they're going to do more damage on the Men-at-Arms polearms than on the Skelly Spheres. It is a very thirsty, we'll see, but it is a very thirsty spell in terms of Winds of Magic. Tomb Scorpion completely unaffected by that, so we'll see what happens. Over here, Ushabti and Kolita are getting close to the Grail Relique. Could affect the leadership of these battle programs very soon, but Chivalrous Albrecht is in there, and he's not going to back away from a fight against Kolita, apparently. He's got the better infantry there. Ushabti are going to get charged here from Knights of the Lionhearted. But man, Grail Knights and Grail Guardians, they are just chilling. They are definitely snobbing a little bit here. Okay, finally going to get their hands dirty. They got a rear charge here on Skelly Spears. I mean, Spears are anti-large and probably one of the least ideal units to charge. But on the other hand, they were not braced. It was a rear charge. They should crumble. And with them gone, of course, Kolita's a little bit tough here. On the other hand, a lot of stuff being idle from Two Kings as well. Tomb Scorpion just standing still, Necrotech not being used to support the fight in here with Kolita and Ushabti. So, I don't know, and this other unit of Ushabti being held in reserve, just kind of sitting pretty. So we'll see. I mean, Balance Bar dead even. This game is far from over. Could go either way. Do have an Earthblood being cast here. We did see some Tomb King stuff start to crumble, but yeah, Albrecht is just slowly chipped down. High Queen Kolita, even with Tomb Strike and all that other stuff. Not going to be enough, and Albrecht does have the speed to catch her so long as she doesn't end up routing through her own infantry. She almost got through. There she goes. There she actually rallied? No, she died. That was weird. She rallied to die. Strange. And she rallied in infantry while Albrecht was there. I don't understand. Anyway, but with Tomb King leadership down, that's a big issue for Undead. Oh, another Ushabti summon. I mean, this Grail Relique just is not dying. I mean, they've put in so much effort trying to kill this Grail Relique unsuccessfully. What are the Knights doing? They're still chilling. Still snobbing all those battle pilgrims. Are like, pilgrims, you got a pilgrimage to do. We don't want to take away from your quest, I guess. I don't know. Charge coming in from the Grail Knights. Gonna try and take out the Ushabti Greatbow. They will get in a rear charge, and I mean, I think the leadership off the field, once that Ushabti summon crumbles, Bretonnia's looking pretty good here. Pretty good. We do have some Peg Knights that have rallied. I mean, really, it's the full health Grail Knights are going to be a big issue. We'll see how it goes. Tomb Scorpions has responded to them. Tomb Scorpion plus Ushabti Greatbow, not pushovers at all. These Grail Knights might want to keep moving. Earthblood's going to be cast here. They still do have 28 unit models, but they're going to get chipped down with each swing of the tail from the Tomb Scorpion. They are fighting in trees as well, which is debuffing the damage, or the attack stats, I guess, of both the large units. Another charge here from the Grail Knights into these Ushabti Greatbow. The charge bonus is going to be huge. Up to 106 charge bonus. Shield of Thorns getting popped there. Should make some pretty good work out of these Ushabti Greatbows. With the shooting off the field, it's starting to look better and better for Tomb Kings, or for Bretonnia. I do think Albrecht should be able to do whatever he wants in the front line there once the chaff is out of the way. And I think we can call this one in favor of Spiffy and the Bretonnians. So yeah, one of the suggestion would be to be a little more aggressive with the Knights a little bit earlier on, but otherwise well played. Double Necrotech, interesting choice there. I like the Necrotechs on Chariots, honestly. If you're going to bring a Necrotech, often it's nice to bring Chariot too, but you don't have to. I'm not the boss. What is this? Another 2v2 with me? Okay. I'm playing Lizardmen. Spiffy is playing Bretonnia. No. What is he playing? Oh, I'm against him now. What? I thought it was with him. What is this? I'm so confused. I don't even remember this game. Apparently I'm playing against him, but I thought I was playing with him. So weird. Alright, we've got... oh, maybe I have 6-path on my team? I don't know, man. I don't know who this is. It's not important. It's not important as long as people have fun. That's what's important. Spiffy's going off on the side with a lot of cav. Is that me playing Dark Elf? I thought it said I was Dark Elf, but that doesn't seem like me. Maybe. Maybe it's me. Wardens of Montfort getting some shots in here on some Blackguard. Oh my goodness, look at all this cav. Shots here from Dark Riders repeated crossbows. Gonna get in on the Damsel of Life. That's a good choice. I have no recollection of this game. This is so weird. Did somebody hack my account? Am I really amnesiac? What is going on? Is this the real life? Is this just fantasy? Is this just Otter's bad memory? Counter charge coming from Witch Elves here. Gonna try and clear out these men at arms. They will get in the charge bonus. These Dark Riders repeated crossbows are gonna get screened. Dark Riders across the back. Shades across the back here. This is like 2 months old. Dude, I don't even remember this battle. I'm so confused. Did I cast this already? I don't even know. Enter the Gods ripping across the front line. Across the zombie gunnery mob, which is a good choice because, I mean, that's one of the few answers to deal with these King Priests and other things. Shots in the back to the Blackguard. Man, I think it's going to be tough for the Dark Elves in this one to deal with all of this large. Is that Gorak as well? Oh my goodness. I bet you Spiffy wins this game. I'm going to just fast forward because Spiffy's saying this is an old game. Maybe I even cast it already. But I'm curious to, like, I want to see how this ends. But I think if this was me, I'm pretty sure I lost this game because maybe that's why I don't remember it. Usually we like to forget the games we lose. We'll see. King Priest of Heaven's in here, going hard. Shots from Dark Riders going to King Priest. Shades in the back line. But yeah, they're going to get smashed by these Knights Errant, I think. Over here, Blackguard, Witch Elves, other things. Going to get our King Chief. Pretty good damage. Bounce bar is even. I mean, this is a close game. Uh-oh. Micro mistake there. Dark Riders repeated crossbows get charged by a lot of things. I really need that AP shooting, if that is me, to deal with the large. Mobility advantage wildly in favor of the Lizardmen at this point. But I have Shades. But Skink Chief is going down. I have Sorceress of Shadow who can possibly chase him off. Hopefully he's not going to rally. That would suck if he rallied. No. Good girl. Good Supreme Sorceress. Okay, over here we have the Ancient Stegodon. Oh no. Oh no. Not on the Blackguard. Oh yeah, look at those moves. Now that is some supreme military training. Dodging. Another Vortex spell I gotta dodge. Oh my god. Double Engine of the Gods. Just keeping me on my toes. If that's me. Shade's going down there. Chipping down the large. Now it's Gorak. Gorak and Blackguard. Uh-oh. And look at all these knights still. This is brutal. Did I charge the... Is that me? I charged the Dark Rider repeated crossbow in there. That must have been a micro mistake. Usually I like to use them to pin, but... I don't know. Over here, more Cav are gonna die. Still a close game. Charges here, charges here. Lifecaster still up, can heal. Shades doing work. Shades get tagged. Gorak gets shot. Supreme Sorceress goes in on Gorak like an absolute boss. Runs away like an absolute not boss. Gorak against Witch Elves, Blackguard. Cycle card charging Cavalry. Cavalry can't really tag anything, but the Malakos is chipping them down. But Shade's really having a hard time getting any sort of breathing room to get shots. Gorak just locking them up, being super annoying. I think I do remember this battle now. And yeah, he's just unkillable. I remember this battle. Gorak just like, yeah, he just pulls it out. Okay, I had to cast this one. Yeah. Night Badass. We'll catch you around. Yeah, we cast this one around, but that's okay. That was a good game. It was fun to remember it. Little trip down memory lane. Oh, that was against me and Sadao. Yeah, man. Daddy and Albrecht playing a really nice game there. So there you go. So that was a very experienced player too. Um, so we got Spiffy and against Norska. Chaos versus Norska. 3 trolls, 4 spears. Well, not spears, halberds. 4 chaos warriors. Gonna try and shrug the damage of the Norskins with that heavy armor. But the Norskins came prepared with the heavy weapons. 3 units Marauder Chance with heavy weapons and chevrons. They're gonna hit like solidly hard. 40 melee attack, 30 weapon damage AP. Of course, if you want to cheat, you just bring the mammoths because they'll do the same thing more cost effectively. But I like people who still try and win with an army and not just monster spam. So we're gonna see an old-fashioned kind of game. Skirmishers are here. We got Archaon who's gonna screen them out. We got some skirmishers coming in the back. Norska's very wide here. They do have the mobility advantage, perhaps. Chaos opting to go with more of a death ball sort of build. So it'll be up to Norska to kind of try and get that full surround, the flanks in, rear charges, all that jazz. There are 3 units of halberds in the back, 4 units of halberds though. Should be able to do okay against that. Archaon taking a Spirit Leech. Skinwolf Werekin doing some damage on Archaon. I like that play from Norska. I mean, Archaon can dish it out too. But you know, he doesn't get that health back. Hunter of Champions. That's cool. Hunter of Champions being used. Okay, I got to comment on this. So Wolfric doesn't want to fight against Archaon because Archaon can Slayer of Kings and do a lot of damage on him. On the other hand, if he sends a skill with Archaon, or can get a couple shots in there if Archaon's debuff. He can bait out all of that, like all of the buffs from Archaon, and then he can fall back, heal up, and go back in later. So I really like that play from Norska right there. Yes, the Skinwolf lost, but he kind of didn't if he can just run away. Well, Archaon's going to chase him. But with Hunter of Champions, it should slow his speed down. I do think the Skinwolf can get away. So this is where Wolfric's got to help his boy out, though. Wolfric, Chaos, Sorceress. Yeah, so this is the right play here. So now it's turned from a 1-on-1 to a 3-on-1. And that's going to be very painful for Archaon. Look at that HP just like getting chipped off of Archaon here. Another Spirit Leech going down. Werekin's going to run away and heal. Not a big deal. And meanwhile, Archaon lost half his HP pool. How's the frontline fight going? Marauder Great Weapons getting in on the Halberds. Good fight for the Marauder Great Weapons. The Halberds are going to lose there. So Spiffy needs to try and fall back and find a better engagement. Marauder Great Weapons are going to do really well against Chaos Warriors as well. So I do like how the frontline's going mostly for Norska. I mean, all things considered. But this unit getting absolutely mauled on the far left flank. And Marauder Horsemen are going to have to chip things down over time and just like slowly whittle away at things. Hero Ball's getting kind of balled, kind of screened out by the Halberds. Wolfric and the Werekin are just, they're looking for a home. If they can't get in on Archaon, it's going to be pretty tough news for them. Marauder Horsemen falling to the back here. And Battle Towards even here. We'll see how it goes. Chaos Trolls can soak some shots. Possibly could screen off the Marauder Horsemen, do like a feint, fall, maybe chase after them and come back, get another second charge on the Marauder Horse. Champions, on the other hand, the Champions are taking damage. The Trolls do hit pretty hard, and they might have a bit of splash damage too. I'm not sure. With them mixed in with the infantry, they're gonna do some punishing. Wolfric's playing this really safe here, and I'm not seeing like all the rear charges that need to go on. I'll fast forward a little bit here, because I do have to call it a night soon. Chaos Marauders and Trolls just like chasing these units so far away. Ice Wolves are back. They're going to be able to wrap up these Trolls. I like that. But the front line, I mean, man, Heavy Metal Chaos going to work here. And really no Chariots. No sort of Mammoth. Nothing that can really cycle charge effectively. It's all like skirmishers. And so, I mean, at some point, North's going to have to try and fight the infantry. And I do think that's going to go in favor. Ooh, a little bit greedy here for Archaon. Archaon's really low on HP. Spiffy's going to have to be careful with Archaon. He's going to go in, be brave. That's a chivalrous Bretonnian and Spiffy coming out there. Chasing after the Werekin. I mean, the Werekin could just turn around and kill him. Oh, he just escapes, but no, he's going to break. That's going to cost him a break. Will he be able to chase him off? I think yes. Beasts of Tashnar are going to make sure that Archaon never comes back. It's going to affect the leadership, but what the hell is going to kill the infantry? I mean, Does he have the Purple Sun? No. No. Does he have Veda Buna? No. Does he have a Giant? No. Does he have a Chariot? No. Does he have Cavalry? No. Well, I mean, Skirmish Cav. I mean, there's nothing that's going to kill the Chaos Warriors. I mean, they're going to take damage. They'll chip them down. You can cycle charge, do all the jazz. Wolfric can hit hard, but at some point, you got to fight them. And what's going to do it? I don't know. Charge bonuses to Norska, though. They did get some damage in here. Are they going to break over here? We'll see. We'll see. I mean, I don't know. Bounce bar is in favor of Norska. Maybe they will take it. Wolfric's still healthy, but he's not supporting his troops. He's not dropping standard die. He's not buffing them. Full surround on Wolfric. Oh my goodness. This is why he's got to fight with his troops. A lot of damage there. This flank has crumbled, though. Can the Chaos Warriors hold out against the Wolves and the Chaff and the other? Oh my god, they got caught. That's embarrassing. Charges here from the Wolves. Just the blob of Chaos Infantry just cutting down everything slowly but surely. Bounce bar is still heavily in favor of Norska, but it's just because of the individual entity effect. They're pulling the balance bar very heavily. Norska really has no idea what to do. And that's because he didn't bring well, he did try and bring a balanced build, but he didn't have anything with mass that could cycle charge infantry effectively, I think. Balance bar still in favor of Norska, amazingly. The Chaos Warriors were wavering, and maybe if Norska just stuck in there, they could have broke them. I do think the Werkin causes fear. Maybe not. But yeah, no. The grinds to the finish. Wolfric full surround. Halberd's going to chuck him down. No heals for Wolfric. He's not that kind of guy. Down he goes. Victory to Chaos. Good stuff. Hey, Squiddy Man. How's it going? Happy Easter. I did not get enough chocolate in me for this Easter, but I will make up for it next Easter and eat twice as much chocolate. It's been pretty quiet, you know, like with the coronavirus, of course. It's not as active as it used to be. But, you know, small victories here or there. I got to host a tournament with my buddy Dutch Skink. He asked me to help co-host with him. So I tried my best. I screwed up my mic a little bit, but I had fun nonetheless. We had some top tier players there, including Falcon and others. So if you do want to check out that tourney, support Dutch Skink. And yeah, so where are we at now? We got 2 more casts here from Spiffy, and I can't remember if I showed the other ones here. I might cast them later. We'll see. A guy named Rim King going up. This was a challenge match, so Spiffy had to win with just peasants and light stuff, and he was trying to do this for a long time. Thanks, Squiddy. I hope everything's good for you down under in Aussie land. I don't think Aussie has been affected as much as other countries with the coronavirus, but correct me if I'm wrong. Anyway, I hope it goes well for you. 4 grower leaks. Absolutely insane. Let's see, can Squiddy do it? Or sorry, can Spiffy do it? You're gonna do a tournament, Squiddy? Do you have Warhammer now installed? I didn't know that. I thought you were trying to get the game. If you do have it, we gotta play together sometime. Okay, Light Wizard gonna put a shot in here on Albrecht. Albrecht's snared. Boris gonna get in some damage. Gets a nice little charge there. Chips him down. Forces out some heals. So all things going well for the Empire so far. I mean, Albrecht is absolutely critical if the peasant build is gonna work. But look at these human archers, just wrecking the halberdiers. Wrecking them. Mounted yeomen are in the back. Shots coming in here, like just broadside. Front line getting tied up probably by peasant mob. Here come the grower leaks, charging bravely into the front line. I mean, how cool is that? If that ain't chivalrous, I don't know what is. That is Bretonnia at its finest. Look at them, lowering their lances to charge. Derpy as hell, man. Derpy as hell. Oh my goodness. Over here we got a huge duel going on between Albrecht and Boris. It looks like these power chickens are fighting to the death. RNG could be an issue here, but like Boris 450, 4735. versus 440 AP anti-large, 4135. Boris does not want to be in sustained combat there, especially not without the support of the Light Wizard. I think he's going to die. Light Wizard's going to get in here. Maybe Boris is going to be able to heal. Oh, he shatters. That is brutal. And the Empire player just surrenders. He's so angry he lost Boris. Dude, 2v1 Boris plus the Light Caster could have killed Alberic. But he sent Boris in unsupported. I guess he was intimidated by the charge of the Grail Relics. And the damage of those human archers on the flank, uncontested, just did so much. And look, the Grail Relics. They just locked up the artillery crew. That is so funny. So congrats to Spiffy. He beat the challenge. He was able to win with the like max chevron, like peasant only sort of build with the Lord of your choice. So Tanker, you're not the only one who could do it now. And honestly, maybe Spiffy's was even more decisive than yours. Pretty funny game. All right, we've got what else? Spiffy has been experimenting with Dwarf, so let's see how this goes. We got Dwarf versus Empire, and maybe, and then I think that's it for tonight. Unless you want to see some of these other games I played. Yeah, that was a rage quit for sure. I mean, wouldn't you be mad if you got rolled by peasants? Probably, right? Like he probably saw the army and he was like, "This is gonna be so easy," and then it wasn't easy, and then he was not happy. Anyway, Pistoliers in the back. Empire pushing up the front. We got Crossbowman. Arch-Lector over here. Going to support his boys, the Demigryph Knights. I do like that combo. Arch-Lector, you buff that melee attack. These guys hit like trucks. Anyways, 58 weapon damage. Weapon strength with AP. If you get their melee attack into like the 60 range, I mean, and your unit models are up, ouch, that is fierce. Pistolier is going to try and come in here, cause some issues. And Spiffy, going to use that organ gun, start wrecking some swordsmen. Wrecking them in the rectum. Bullthrower shooting at the Pistoliers. Interesting. You don't see Bullthrowers too often, but maybe not a bad unit to deal with skirmishers on the flank. Interesting choice there by Spiffy. It is going to force these Pistoliers to keep moving. Pistoliers could probably put in some nice shots on the Slayers here. I mean, honestly, if they do get shot by the Pistoliers, not the worst in the world. And yeah, this is what I'm talking about. I think they're trying to shoot the Bullthrowers, in all honesty. But they're hitting the Slayers by accident, but it's not bad. I mean, shots at the Slayers are pretty good. On the other hand, Organ Gun has been turned to the side here. Going to shoot it to the Pistoliers. And to be honest, there's not a lot of great targets for the Organ Guns outside of, well, the Demis, but I don't think the Demis are in range yet. Oh, no, now they are in range. So if the Organ Gun pushes onto the Demis, that could be really nice. Of course, there are great swords in the back as well, which is a decent target. Yeah, Demis. Definitely you want to use the Organ Guns and the Bullthrowers on the Demis if you can. You want to screen out the Pistoliers with other stuff, with chaff. I think these Dwarfers are playing like a little bit tight here. They can win against the Swordsmen, so you might as well push up and screen them. You don't want to let the Crossbowmen to get in range of your artillery crews, because that's going to be really tough for you. Slayers are doing absolutely nothing here except taking shots to the face, so they're not slaying much of anything. But they are holding the line, sort of. Demigryph Knight's going to get into charge here. Slayer's going to counterattack and like just peel the paint off the Demis. So if you do have Demis, you like the last thing in the world you want to charge the Slayers here. So some micro mistakes by the Empire player. Arch-Lector is going to do his little shenanigan, buff their melee attack. That's going to help him get through the melee D. He's going to do his Soul Fire. That's going to also do pretty well against the Slayers who do rely on that physical resist. But all those buffs got popped and then they run away, and it's kind of like, what's the point? I mean, your whole build was centered around the Arch-Lector and the Demi buff, and then you ran away, and they're just standing here with the Grand Hammer Sigmar looking at the distance. I don't know. The artillery is wholly firm here. Demis are going to dive the back line, which is not what they need to do. Slayers are going to countercharge them, and it's going to be a trade of a bolt thrower for a unit of Demis. That's definitely not worth it. Demis are worth double the cost of a bolt thrower. The bolt throwers are just going to rally once the Demis run away. Iron Drake's facing the wrong direction. Maybe. I mean, I guess they might have dealt with these guys over here. Probably they got to turn around. We do have the crossbows starting to be an issue, though. 3 units of crossbows can shoot at the artillery. Crossbows pushing up too much, though. I don't think they're on guard mode. Maybe they're going to get locked up by the Dwarf Warriors or other things. We'll see. Going to shoot at the Organ Gun. which is the unit I was having fun with earlier on. Dwarf is going to get in on the crossbowman. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Balance brought that even. It's too early to call. A lot of inactive units here. I don't know what the Longbeards of Dwarf Warriors are trying to do. They are kind of screening out some things, but yeah, no cycle charges there. Iron Drakes trying to deal with these demis over here. Pistoliers. I don't know. Demis are locking up the Iron Drake torpedoes, preventing them from firing. Slayers are going after Pistoliers. Maybe they could go after the demis and then use the Iron Drakes to shoot at the Pistoliers. Orknot's still online though. Like, despite all the fire from these crossbowmen, they're still going strong. What's up with these greatswords? They're doing work here. They should be able to get through Longbeards eventually, I would think. That should put some pressure on the front line of the doors. The Organ Gun is shooting in on the demis. What happened to Archlector? Here he is. Archlector's fighting like a full blob of Dwarf Warriors, full surround, taking a lot of chip damage. Not being used as he should with his demis. Some swordsmen rally over here. These crossbowmen really need to be pulled back. Send the great swords to help out against these Dwarf Warriors if needed. You do want all of these crossbows firing at all times. Dwarf Warriors pushing out to no man's land, but effectively screening the Huntsman and the Archlector. Very close battle still, but Iron Drakes are back online because the Slayers came over to help them out as they should have done, I think, as I was suggesting earlier anyways. Slayers should be able to cut up that Pistoliers pretty well. On the other hand, down to 14 unit models, so we'll see. But yes, Pistoliers break pretty quickly. Iron Drakes will maybe rally. Longbeard's coming in here. Dwarf Warriors coming in here. Definitely not. Empire needs to set up that concave firing arc with the crossbows. It's not necessarily doing that. Shots coming in here. I'm going to start to fast forward a little bit. It is a dwarf game. They do tend to be a little bit grindy and slow. Lord going to support his Dwarf Warriors. Does he have the stand your ground buff? He does. He can pop that and make the Dwarf Warriors maybe win against the Greatswords. There it goes. Stand your ground, buff the leadership. Greatswords down. Victory to the Doors. Congrats to Spiffy on that one. You know, he's learning the Doors. He experimented with some things. It was interesting to see the Dwarf bolt thrower pick. And in the end, I think the demis just didn't really have a good target there. Well, they did. I mean, I don't know, but they went into Slayers, so not in the right place. They could have just charged the front line. They would define against Dwarf Warriors, I guess. So we have one last fight. Like, my voice is going here. I think that's it. Did I showcase this one? This was a crazy game. I can't remember if I showcased it or not. Do you want to see this one? Otter versus Tanker. I'm afraid I showed it already. Who knows? This one I didn't showcase. This was a quick battle I did tonight against a guy named KOEWL. Shoutouts to KOEWL. You were super chill. He was also streaming on Twitch. And he was very polite, you know, letting me ready up. Giving me time to make my army. So I also gave him time to, you know, like, set up his deployment, because I tend to deploy faster than people. I'm slow to make my army, but in terms of deployment, like, I'm usually, like, pretty fast with that. I could deploy my army in about 15 seconds in most battles. That's probably because I practice, like, AFKing at the beginning and, like, scrambling to, like, put my shit together. But my army select is really important for me, and I tend to be slow with that. Anyway, I got Boris and an Empire Captain. I did bring some cannons because I figured they're really good against Coon King. So I actually, like, I forgot something that I think was really important. Well, kind of. I mean, I do have crossbows that could deal with Kyrian, but Kyrian could have shut down my great cannons for like a decent amount of time. And I didn't have any flagellants to really clear the Kyrian off. Okay, I have Empire Knights. Okay, so granted, if you did bring Kyrian, I did have an answer to that. I could dive the Empire Knights and probably clear the Kyrian off. So what's going on here? So I used Boris to sort of screen off these Skelly Horsemen archers because they were getting some free damage here. I've got my cannons. Initially, I had them shooting in at the Shop de Great Bow. I did like a little bit of damage here, but the Casket of Souls actually moved into range. It does have 440 range versus the 450 range of my cannons, so I was able to put 2 cannons on the Casket of Souls. I also had 1 cannon shooting in Archon the Black. I probably could have done all 3 on Archon the Black, but I knew Archon the Black was moving, and if I split my shots, I was gonna like make it that much harder for him to micro, because then he's got to micro the Casket and he has to micro Archon, and yeah. Archon's going to drop a really nice Skelly Warrior summon here on the back of my spears, and the charge from the Necrosphinx has kind of caused these spearmen to break and buckle, and that clears the way for the Skelly Horseman archers to start doing some work here. They could dive. I mean, really, without the spearmen, I'm pretty vulnerable here. I've got 1 unit spearmen, I got the Empire Knights, but he could really be aggressive here, dive the cav like straight into the crossbow and shut down the Great Cannons right away. So super scary position for me here. These crossmen aren't going to shoot into the Necrosphinx. Look at the damage I took from Boris because of the Sphinx of Yusfek and the Overwatch fire from the 2 units who shot the Great Bows. So Boris is like going to flee into the backline here. Really dicey situation for me. Balance bar in favor of my opponent at this point in time. Necrosphinx beelining into the crossbowman. He's got the support of the Skelly Warriors. The Great Cannon is here, and like really all I have is the bravery of this poor Empire captain going up against something that could just beat his ass into the ground if it just turned around and beat his ass into the ground. Like, I mean, I don't know how else to say that, but like the Empire captain has no business going against the Sphinx of Yusfek. But he's going to try, and Boris is going to try too. And a 2v1, maybe they can do a little bit of damage, kind of. But Boris is going to get hit pretty hard too. Like, I mean, this is desperate times for Empire. But crossbowmen providing some Overwatch fire on the far flanks. We've got the charge from the Nahakar Horsemen. I don't know why they went into the spears, but counter charge here from the Empire Knights. They're going to do really well against the Nahakar Horsemen on the far flank. Things are going a little better for me. I do have Skelly Spearmen locked up with regular Spearmen. I'm okay with that. I do have the Grey Wizard who's going to drop some pendulums across the side. Apologies if I didn't cast that. As far as leadership situation goes, I do think I did get the pick on Archon, and I do have one cannon shooting in here on the Necrosphinx, as well as the shots here from the archers. So overall, just able to chip down the Necrosphinx. This was a super good play from my opponent here. You see the Shopti coming out of the ground. Boris was kind of wavering, like on leadership, right? And I was like, oh shit, I want to get him out of the way. I tried to micro him out of the way here, but like there was some weird pathing stuff. He kind of like dove into the middle of the unit and he broke, and I was like, shit, there goes my lord. He gets shattered right off of this Ushapti summon. I was like, that's so painful. A guy who could have like healed up to his full leadership. I tried to keep him in the backline. Sneaky plays from Tomb Kings. Sneaky. Tomb Kings cannot be trusted. They do not need the keys to get into your house. They just help themselves. They take your salt, they take your butter, and they just did work on Boris there. So even though I was aware of it, I just couldn't pull him out in time because of the mask. But fortunately for me, the damage from the guns have chipped down the Sphinx of Yusfek. And over here, other stuff. You can screen out the Skelly Horseman Archmen. I do have Empire Knights. Over here, Skelly Spear is going to chip down the... where's my wizard? Here he is. He intercepted the Tomb Guard, which were pushing towards my Great Cannon, and just cast one last FU sort of magic bomb on these Tomb Guard. I knew I was going to lose my Great Wizard, but if I could just buy a little bit more time for these guns to shoot the Sphinx of Yusfek, I mean, maybe that was all I need. He was crumbling. His leadership is so low. He might stabilize beating on the Grey Wizard, but the Grey Wizard kind of did his job. I'm going to retreat the Great Cannon crew off there, and I sent spears and other things in here. With the Sphinx down, suddenly things not looking so bleak, but there are still 2 units Ushapti Great Bows here. I do have to deal with them. I will get the Great Cannon back online, get the crossbowmen going to work here. Empire Knights, going to go in here and try to do what they can to the Ushapti Great Bow. 2 units of crossbows, going to shoot in here and do some work. Do some work here. And chip down the Ushapti Great Bow. So I think that's pretty much it. Like, my opponent played a really good game there. I do think maybe carrying could have helped. I do think the map did me some favors because it made it hard to deal with, limited his Vanguard options, but yeah, Empires can trade shots with the best of them, and if you do, I do think that's one of the matchups where Tomb Kings do have to kind of try and be the aggressors. So yeah, Let's do one last cast. I can't remember if we cast this one, so I want to give it its due. It was an amazing game. Uh, I think this matchup really heavily favors Norska. In this particular case, I think the Army Comp went in favor of Tanker because I didn't go with the high tier mass units where I think Norska can really shine. But you can always say, well, yeah, if you did that, then you could have used the double warp lightning cannons to greater effect, as well as the Ratling gun. So you can always come up with an excuse. I want to just showcase the game for what it was. So we went back and forth, Norska versus Skaven, many games, and like we tried it with Botchik, we tried it with Tanker. 90% of the time, regardless of who played Norska, Norska won versus Skaven. So I tried like some different variations of this. In this case, I didn't bring a Vortex spell as well, which I think was another huge criticism of this build. But I went really heavy on trolls, see how they could do. I'll be patient here. And position stuff onto the flanks, try and get that full surround. The Warp Lightning Cannons are going to have a really hard time hitting the chariots, especially with the trees and a little bit of dipsy doodling. But I have chariots on both flanks. I'm trying to get an opening here because of the map. And the range of the Warp Lightning Cannons. The Warp Lightning Cannons can really shoot to the edge of the map. So there's kind of no safe spot for me. But I will use the mass of these Warp Lightning Cannons to charge in here. They will mock up these Rattling Gunners and make it very hard for them to shoot. I'm going to follow that up with the charges from the Ice Trolls. But yeah, guns are going to get in here on some Norscan Ice Trolls. But with the charge, they should be able to break the Skaven Chaff. On the other hand, Tanker did go pretty high tier with his backline infantry. He's got 4 units of the Storm Vermin Halberd, and I've got Marauder Chariots, but what you'll notice is the Marauder Chariots are getting like stuck a little bit on the Warp Lightning Cannons as I try and pull through, and that's allowing extra hits to come in here from these Storm Vermin. So actually Tanker, he didn't bring mass, he didn't bring a Hell Pit, he didn't bring Rat Ogres, but like weirdly, like this, look at how this Marauder Chariot's getting stuck on the Warp Lightning Cannon. And so like the mass of the Warp Lightning Cannon just actually being used to buckle the halberds to some effect. Balance were pretty even. A lot of stuff rallying over here. Trolls break off, but they heal. They come back. That's what trolls do. They just troll things. I'm going to get the Maws of Savagery in here. They're going to shut down these Rattling Gunners. The Rattling Gunners are pretty screwed up at this point. Like, they're not going to do too well. I will push my Marauder Chieftain towards the Plague Priest and the Warp Lightning Cannon. He hits pretty hard. I mean, they're having a hard time bringing him down. Trolls breaking, coming back again, breaking, coming back again. It's like pandemonium across the board. So, ironically, the Skaven leadership is holding better than the leadership of the Norskins in this case. Skavens are showing Skavens are showing the Norskins how to be brave and stand and fight. And again, look at this chariot just getting stuck here on the Warp Lightning Cannon. Tretch is pretty good, like in terms of just not dying and being a small target. So I have not been able to like just take out the Skaven leadership. One option against Skaven is you can break Spirit Leech and just spam stuff down. And every matchup, like pretty much, I've brought the Spirit Leech caster to give Skaven a reason to push out. In this matchup, I didn't. I also didn't bring a Vortex spell. Something that really cost me. I just brought too much of the same thing, honestly. And the trolls are naturally countered by Storm Vermin Helmet. But in spite of that, it was a really close game. And like it's kind of down to the wire here. The Warp Lightning Cannon's breaking off. I mean, again, the trolls can heal. Maybe I need to be a little more impatient here, give them a bit more time to heal. Well, the Marauder Chieftain's in here. He's going to break some stuff off, but someone's going to buffer the Warp Lightning Cannon, keep shooting just long enough to probably break off those Maws of Savagery. I do have the Chariot. I do break the Warp Lightning Cannon, but not before the Maws of Savagery break. They're going to run towards the edge of the map. They do rally, though. So, I mean, I don't know. It was looking pretty bleak for me. Maybe I still have a shot here. Marauder Chieftain's going to get in here on Tretch and the Plague Priest. I do have my Trolls, buffer my boy. But Tretch doing some pretty good damage on the Marauder Chieftain. Man, this is scrap to the finish. Super close fight here. We're going to get in here. Everything's wavering. In the end, the Marauder Chieftain does break. And what I didn't notice was this sneaky frickin' Warp Lightning Cannon back online. So I did have, I believe, Maws of Savagery somewhere. Yeah, the Maws are here, right? But I sent them in to support that fight. What I needed to do is send them over to the Warp Lightning Cannon. This was a fatal mistake. I think I tried to like maybe break the Plague Priest. I'm not really sure, but Warp Lightning Cannon, even with that low leadership, goes back online, shoots the Maws of Savagery, takes them offline, and that seals the deal. So congrats to Tanker on that win. It was a super fun game, and we were testing Norska to the limits. I still think the matchup favors Norska super heavily, and if I just brought a build, Norska would have come out on top. But in this case, Tanker had the keys to the car and the right answers for what I brought, and he pulled it out. So well played to Tanker. Thank you to everyone who watched and who continues to support the channel. I do it because of you guys, because it's fun. I'm not making money off this. I'm just doing this as a hobby because I'm passionate about the game. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great evening, a wonderful Easter, and we'll catch you around. Bye.